long have you been in your vocation?
About 20-something years.
Long time. Was there a special moment when you realized you were called to religious life?
Well, it's really priestly life.
Or priestly life,
Yes,
sorry.
and it was probably after I was a priest, because I think when you're very young, when you get into this, you kind of, like everybody in any profession, they get very excited and enthused about what they want to do. And then once you get settled, you begin to realize all the ramifications and all the results of all the decisions, and you kind of wonder, is this what I really want to do? Am I really sure? And I think it was really a few years later that I really began to experience God's love in such a tremendous, deep way in my life that made me realize that, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is where I get fulfillment. This is where I feel most happy. This is where I feel that I'm invited to live out my life.
Are you doing the 8 o'clock mass also?
Father Anthony.
Father Anthony.
And the school's coming.
What did you expect about priestly life, living, I don't know?
I think, again, it's the same thing. When I was young, like anybody, you go into things with a lot of excitement. As I'm getting older, I'm beginning to realize the challenges of being a person who's not married. Because when you're young, you have all your friends and you have everybody you hang out with, and I did too. The problem is, at one point, all my friends got married. And so there was no more going out because everybody was a couple. And as I get older and older, I began to realize that unlike a lot of my married friends and a lot of people who get married, when I go to my room, there's nobody going to be there. You don't think about that when you're young, because you're go, go, go. You get older and you realize, there isn't going to be anybody there. Sometimes I get a little bit afraid because as I get older, you worry about your health. And I wonder, well, if something happens to me, will I be alone? That's the human part of it. But that's the part that I didn't think about when I was younger. Not that I would change my mind, but it's part of the unfolding, and it reminds me of what type of commitment I made. That this part of me, unlike anybody else, is not part of what I've chosen. And so I have to embrace the fact that when I go to my room, that's my room, and there's not going to be anybody there.
Oh, okay, so is this called high five for vocation, so can I get a high five?
Sure. There you go.
Oh wait, Don has to ask
God
you.
always called you to your religious life?
Like anybody else, again, it's always a challenge. Like I said today, yes, sometimes there are days where I feel like God really is calling. Sometimes I wonder if God really wants me to do this. Some days are more successful, just like you at school and your friends. Sometimes it's a good day. Some days you just wonder if you have any friends. And it's like that. Is God really there with me? Does He really want me to do this? I have to struggle and believe that. But yes, I have my doubts sometimes.
Okay. What advice would you give to an up-and-coming person who's choosing your religious life?
Well, first of all, I think one of the important things is to realize that choosing priestly life, or for women being a sister or a nun, is not something that we run away from life. It's not a place to hide. It's not a place to try to find a safe haven from all the challenges and difficulties and worries and problems of life. I would say one of the first things is really to experience life and what that means. And I think that's one of the differences today, where both men and women go into the seminary and convent a little bit later than they used to before any of us were born. They would go in right after high school or something, or even before that. They really didn't, and I'm saying that that's bad, but today in our world that we live in, with social media and everything else, I think it's so important to be able to be comfortable with people, because the church isn't like it was previously, where you had many priests. There's a lot of lay people that are involved and engaged in ministry, and there's a lot of people you need to connect with. And so you need to experience a little bit of what their challenges are, their difficulties, because not that you can ever relate to it fully, because you're not married or you don't have kids, but at least you can try to be there with them. And I think anyone reflecting on priestly or religious life needs to embrace life first, and then really begin to discern whether this is what they want. Do they really believe, at least at that point, that this is what they believe they're being led to? and to keep on asking that question, and keep on trying to live that out through their years of study. You know, I don't know if anyone ever has the final answer. I'm not even sure if anyone who's married can say, well, you know, this is it. I'm sure they would. I'm not saying they'd be unfaithful, but they just like any, is this really what I was supposed to do? And we all ask that, you know. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Wait,
I
that it?
Vocations.